The crack of Beaumont Fitzgerald's palm against Alana's cheek echoed through the marble foyer like a gunshot. Her head snapped to the side, the metallic taste of blood flooding her mouth as her vision blurred with tears she refused to let fall. The crystal vase she'd been cleaning slipped from her trembling fingers, shattering into 1,000 pieces at her feet, just like her dignity. Clumsy, pathetic. Beaumont's venomous words died in his throat. The temperature in the room dropped 20 degrees. Alana looked up through the haze of pain to see a figure she'd never noticed before. A man, in an immaculate charcoal suit, stood between her and Beaumont, his back to her, perfectly still. He hadn't rushed, hadn't shouted. He'd simply appeared, Beaumont's face drained of colour. "Mr. Ferretti, The man, Niccolo Ferretti, raised one finger. Just one. Beaumont's mouth snapped shut with an audible click of teeth. The silence that followed was the most terrifying thing Alana had ever experienced. In that silence, she heard a promise being made without a single word spoken. Her cheek throbbed, her heart hammered, and she had no idea that this moment would change absolutely everything. If you want to discover how Alana's world collided with the most dangerous man in the city, and what happened in the aftermath of that silent protection, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Every view helps bring more stories like this one to life. 3 hours earlier, Alana Brooks had been in a different kind of hell, the familiar kind. She stood at the employee entrance of the Fitzgerald estate in the pre-dawn darkness, her second-hand sneakers soaked through from morning dew. The mansion loomed above her like a monument to everything she'd never have. 42 rooms for 3 people who barely spoke to each other. Her phone buzzed. A text from her neighbor, Mrs. Chen. "Micah asking for you. Said his tummy hurts." Alana's chest constricted. Her 5-year-old son. The secret she guarded more carefully than her own heartbeat. No one at the Fitzgerald estate knew about Micah. Single mothers were unreliable, according to the agency. So she'd lied on her application and worked 3 jobs to afford the crumbling studio apartment where her baby slept. "Give him ginger tea," she texted back. "I'll be home by 2. "You're 2 minutes late." Alana's head snapped up. Beaumont Fitzgerald stood in the doorway, his silk robe hanging open over designer pajamas that cost more than her monthly rent. His pale eyes raked over her with disgust. "I'm sorry, Mr. Fitzgerald, the bus—" "I don't pay you to make excuses." He stepped aside just enough to force her to squeeze past. "The foyer. There's a charity gala tonight. Everything needs to be perfect." Alana grabbed her cleaning supplies and headed to the foyer. The morning light filtered through floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating obscene wealth. A chandelier that cost more than most houses. Marble imported from Italy. She worked methodically, efficient, invisible, the perfect servant. The crystal vase on the center table caught the morning light, refracting rainbow prisms. Beautiful, fragile, probably worth more than everything she owned combined. She lifted it carefully, cloth ready to clean the table beneath. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" Alana's heart stopped. Beaumont stood at the top of the grand staircase, his face twisted with rage. "I'm cleaning with your filthy hands on my mother's baccarat crystal." He descended the stairs like a predator. "Do you have any idea what that's worth?" "I was being careful." "Careful? You people are all the same. No respect for quality, no understanding of value." The words hit harder than any slap could. "You people." Alana's jaw clenched. She'd heard variations of this her entire life, but she needed this job. Needed the money, needed to get home to Micah. "I apologize, Mr. Fitzgerald, I'll be more—" The vase tilted in her grip, just slightly. A tremor from fatigue, from hunger, from the weight of holding her life together. Beaumont's hand shot out. The crack of impact echoed through the foyer. Alana's world exploded into stars and pain. The vase fell, shattering on marble. Blood filled her mouth. Her ears rang. Tears blurred her vision as her cheek erupted into fire. Through the haze, she saw Beaumont's hand rising again. Then, silence. A presence. A man stood between them. Alana blinked, trying to focus through the pain. Where had he come from? She hadn't heard footsteps. He was just there. Tall, broad-shouldered, dark hair cut sharp. The suit he wore was armor, not decoration, and his stillness was more terrifying than any violence. "Mr. Ferretti," Beaumont's voice trembled with something she'd never heard from him before. "Fear. I didn't know you were—" This is a private residence. Niccolo Ferretti didn't turn around. Didn't acknowledge Beaumont's stammering. His focus remained fixed on the billionaire with predator intensity. He raised one finger. Beaumont went silent. Alana stood frozen, her hand pressed to her burning cheek. Who was this man? Why did Beaumont Fitzgerald, a man who treated senators like servants, look like he might actually wet himself? Niccolo's hand moved slowly, deliberately. He removed a pristine white handkerchief from his pocket and turned. Alana found herself staring into eyes the color of a winter storm, cold, calculating, absolutely merciless. But when they landed on her face, on the blood trickling from her split lip, something flickered in their depths. Fury. Not at her. For her. He stepped closer, and every instinct screamed at her to run. This man was dangerous. But he moved with careful control, like someone handling something precious. He lifted the handkerchief toward her face, paused, asking permission without words, and when she didn't pull away, gently pressed it to her bleeding lip. His fingers never touched her skin, but she felt the heat of them anyway. "What's your name?" His voice was quiet, accented. Italian silk wrapped around steel. "Alana. Alana Brooks. Alana." He said it like he was memorizing it. "You're hurt." "I'm fine." His eyes narrowed. He saw through her lie immediately. Behind him, Beaumont made a small sound, a whimper disguised as a cough. Niccolo's jaw tightened. He turned to face the billionaire. "You will transfer ownership of this property to me within the hour. Below market value, 70%. What? That's... You will also liquidate your holdings in the Fitzgerald Foundation and donate the proceeds to..." He glanced at Alana. "What charity do you prefer?" Alana blinked, completely lost. What? Education, healthcare, children. Children's literacy programs," she stammered. "Children's literacy programs," Niccolo repeated to Beaumont. "All of it, by end of business today." Beaumont's face had gone from white to purple. "You can't just..." "I can and I am." 2 words, absolute certainty. "My family will receive nothing from this estate, nothing from the foundation. You'll keep your penthouse in Manhattan, your car, 1 million in liquid assets. That's generous, considering." "This is extortion." Finally, Niccolo smiled. It was the most terrifying thing Alana had ever seen. "No, Mr. Fitzgerald, this is mercy. Be grateful I'm in a forgiving mood. Others who've laid hands on what's mine have received far less comfortable retirements." "What's mine?" The words echoed in Alana's head. She wasn't his, didn't even know him. "The paperwork will be couriered within the hour," Niccolo continued. "Sign it, or I'll take everything. Your penthouse, your car, your reputation, your freedom, your life." Beaumont stumbled backward, tripping on the bottom stair. Niccolo turned away from him dismissively. His attention returned to Alana. "You're coming with me." What? "No, I can't." "You're injured. You need medical attention. And you no longer work here." Panic flared in Alana's chest. "But I need this job. I need the money." "You'll have money. I can't just accept." "Then you'll earn it. I need someone I can trust in my household, someone honest, loyal." He pulled a card from his pocket. Black, matte, with silver lettering. "My driver will take you for medical evaluation, then to collect anything you need from your current residence. You'll start Monday." "I haven't said yes." Those winter storm eyes studied her. "No, you haven't. But you will." The arrogance should have infuriated her. Instead, it made something flutter in her stomach, because he wasn't wrong. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. For the first time, his expression softened. "Just slightly. Because someone should have helped my mother." The words were quiet, final. He nodded once and walked toward the entrance. At the door, he paused. "Your son, Micah. He'll have access to the best pediatrician in the city. The estate has a children's wing. He's welcome there." Alana's world tilted. "How did you—" But he was already gone. She stood alone in the foyer, surrounded by shattered crystal and her shattered understanding of the world. Her phone buzzed. "Unknown number. A car will arrive in 20 minutes. Take anything you need. You won't be returning. NF." This was crazy. This man was clearly dangerous, but he'd stepped between her and violence without hesitation, had avenged her without being asked, had offered her not charity but employment, dignity, a chance. Alana looked down at the handkerchief still pressed to her lip. pristine white, except for the red stain of her blood. She should be terrified. Instead, she felt something else entirely. Hope. The car was a black Mercedes SUV with windows tinted so dark they looked like voids. The driver opened the door without a word. Alana hesitated on the sidewalk, her pathetic duffel bag clutched in one hand. This was her last chance to walk away. She got in the car. The medical evaluation was surreal. A private clinic with no signs, no waiting room, no other patients. A doctor examined her split lip and bruised cheek with professional detachment, prescribed antibiotics, and sent her away with instructions to ice the swelling. The doctor simply documented everything with careful photographs, then handed the file to the driver. For Mr. Ferretti, the driver took her to her apartment next. Mrs. Chen opened her door, Micah's small hand clutched in hers. "Mama!" Micah launched himself at Alana's legs. His sweet face looked up at her with concern far too adult for 5 years old. "Your face is hurt." "It's okay, baby. Mama's fine." She scooped him up. "We're going on an adventure." Mrs. Chen's gaze traveled from Alana's bruised face to the Mercedes idling at the curb. "Alana, what's going on?" "I got a new job, a better one. We're moving to the employer's estate." The apartment took 15 minutes to pack. They didn't have much. The driver loaded everything with mechanical efficiency, producing a booster seat from somewhere. The Ferretti estate was not a mansion. It was something else entirely. They drove through iron gates that opened automatically, up a tree-lined drive that seemed to stretch for miles. The building that emerged wasn't ostentatious. There was power in its restraint. Clean lines, perfect proportions. Everything spoke of wealth and taste and control. A woman in her 60s approached from the entrance. Steel-grey hair pulled into an elegant bun. "Miss Brooks, I'm Sophia DeLuca, head of household staff. Welcome." Sophia's sharp eyes took in her bruised face without comment, then softened as they landed on Micah. "And who is this handsome young man?" "I'm Micah. I'm 5. Do you have any cookies?" Sophia's stern face cracked into a smile. "I believe the kitchen might have some. Shall we check after we get you settled?" She led them through corridors that smelled of lemon polish and fresh flowers to a wing Alana hadn't expected. "This is the children's wing," Sophia explained. "It's been quiet for some time. Mr. Ferretti thought your son might enjoy it." She opened a door. Alana stopped breathing. A bedroom decorated in blues and greens, with a twin bed shaped like a race car, shelves of books and toys, a small desk with art supplies, and a window seat overlooking gardens that stretched to a distant tree line. "Is this mine?" Micah whispered. "If you'd like it to be," Sophia said gently. "Your room is connected." She opened an adjoining door to reveal a queen bed with linens that looked softer than clouds. A private bathroom. A sitting area with a bookshelf already stocked with titles she'd mentioned loving. Wait, she'd never mentioned her favorite books to anyone here. "Mr. Ferretti is very thorough," Sophia said, reading her confusion. "He researched your background, your education, your interests. He wanted you to feel comfortable." That should have been creepy. Instead, it felt like being seen. Actually seen for the first time in years. "When do I meet him?" "He'll send for you when he's ready. For now, settle in. Rest. There's a phone on the nightstand. Dial 1 for the kitchen, 2 for security, 3 for medical, 4 for me." After Sophia left, Alana stood in her new room, overwhelmed. This couldn't be real. Her phone buzzed. "Unknown number. Dinner is at 7. Casual. You'll eat with me. We have much to discuss. Micah will eat with the household staff. Sophia makes excellent chicken fingers. NF." Her heart kicked against her ribs. At 6:55, Alana stood outside the door Sophia had directed her to, a private dining room on the 2nd floor. She knocked. "Enter." The room was intimate. A table set for 2, candles casting soft light, windows overlooking darkening gardens, and Niccolo Ferretti standing by those windows. He'd changed to dark slacks and a charcoal button-down, with sleeves rolled to his forearms. The casual attire should have made him less intimidating. It didn't. "Alana." He turned, and those winter eyes swept over her. "Please, sit." She chose the chair farthest from him. He noticed, and something that might have been amusement flickered across his face. "I don't bite," he said, taking the seat across from her. "I'm not afraid of you." "Yes, you are. You should be. I'm a very dangerous man, Alana Brooks." "Then why am I here?" Because dangerous men have many uses for capable women, and violence isn't one of them. He poured wine into her glass. You're safe here. Your son is safe here. I need you to believe that. Why should I? Because I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not a good man. I run an organization that operates outside the law. I've hurt people, killed people, built an empire on fear and loyalty and blood. But I have rules, lines I don't cross. And one of those lines is hitting women. One of those lines is harming the innocent. Beaumont Fitzgerald forgot that even in this city, there are powers greater than money, and he made a critical error. What error? He hurt you in my presence. The words hung in the air between them. I don't know you, she whispered. No, not yet, but you will. He took a sip of his wine. Tell me about Micah's father. She stiffened. That's personal. Everything about you is personal. I need to know if he'll come looking, if he's a threat. He's not part of our lives. That's not an answer. Alana's hands clenched. He left when I told him I was pregnant. Signed away parental rights for $5,000. He's not coming back. Something dangerous flashed in Nicolo's eyes. His name. Why? Because I want to know who abandoned you and the boy. It doesn't matter. He's gone. His name. Alana. There was steel under the silk now. The voice that didn't make requests only gave commands. Marcus Johnson. But please don't. I won't harm him. Unless he tries to return. Then I'll make him regret ever being born. A knock interrupted them. Staff entered with dinner. Grilled fish, roasted vegetables, bread that smelled like heaven. They served with silent efficiency and vanished. They ate in silence for several minutes. The food was incredible, but Alana could barely taste it. Your duties will be managing the household. Sophia handles the staff, but you'll coordinate events, manage schedules, ensure everything runs smoothly. You'll also accompany me to certain functions, social events, where I need a presentable companion. Like a date, like an escort in the proper sense, nothing physical, simply someone intelligent and poised at my side. It should have sounded cold. Instead, it sounded honest. What happened to your mother? The question escaped before she could stop it. His jaw tightened. For a long moment she thought he wouldn't answer. She worked as a maid for a powerful family in Naples. One of the sons decided she was his property. When she refused him, he made her life hell. Destroyed her reputation. Got her fired. She died in poverty 3 years later. His voice was conversational, but his knuckles had gone white around his wine glass. I was 12. Too young to protect her. I'm sorry. Don't be. I'm not that powerless child anymore. No one will ever hurt you the way they hurt her. Not while you're under my protection. The intensity in his gaze made her breath catch. You barely know me, she said softly. I know enough. I know you work yourself to exhaustion for your son. I know you have a degree in art history you can't use because you're too busy surviving. I know you've been invisible your entire life, and you're tired of it. He leaned forward. I see you, Alana Brooks. All of you. The strength, the intelligence, the pride you hide under deference. And I'm telling you, you don't have to hide anymore. Tears pricked her eyes. She blinked them back furiously. I see you, Alana. And I'm telling you, you don't have to hide anymore. The moment stretched between them, charged with want, fear, possibility. A soft alarm chimed on his phone. He glanced at it, and his expression shifted into something harder. I need to handle something. Sophia will help you get settled. Tomorrow we'll discuss your schedule in detail. He stood, buttoning his cuffs. Sleep well. You're safe here. He was almost to the door when she spoke. Nicolo, thank you. For this morning. For everything. Something softened in his face. No one deserves to be struck, Alana, especially not you. Then he was gone, leaving her alone with questions, wine, and the dangerous flutter in her chest that whispered she was already in far deeper than she'd intended. Alana woke to sunlight, and the sound of her son's laughter drifting from the gardens below. She found Micah with Sophia, helping plant flowers in beds that stretched like colorful rivers through the grounds. He was covered in dirt, grinning like he'd discovered treasure. Mama, look, I'm a gardener. When was the last time she'd seen him this happy? A throat cleared behind her. Alana turned to find Nicolo standing at the garden's edge, dressed for business in a navy suit. But his attention wasn't on her. It was on Micah. Her son looked up and waved a dirty hand. Hi, I'm Micah. Want to plant flowers? Something extraordinary happened to Nicolo's face. The hardness melted. The ice in his eyes warmed. "Perhaps later," he said, his voice losing its sharp edge. "Right now, I need to borrow your mother." Niccolo gestured toward the path. Alana fell into step beside him. "He's a good kid," Niccolo said finally. "He's my world. I can see that." They walked in silence before he continued. "There's an event tonight, a fundraiser at the Metropolitan Museum. You'll accompany me." "Tonight? But I don't have anything to wear." "Taken care of. A stylist will arrive at 2. They'd reached a terrace overlooking a pond where koi flashed beneath the surface. Niccolo stopped, leaning against the stone balustrade. "You need to understand something, Alana. By accepting my protection, you've entered my world. A world with different rules, different dangers. You're saying I'm in danger? I'm saying that people who might have ignored you before will notice you now. Some will try to befriend you to get close to me. Some will try to hurt you to hurt me." His eyes locked on hers. "I need you to be smart, cautious. Trust no one except Sophia and the core security team." Fear whispered up her spine. Maybe this was a mistake. It's too late for that. You're mine now, in every way that matters to this world. He moved closer. "I'm giving you everything, Alana. Safety, security, a future for your son. All I ask in return is your trust. Trust is earned. Then let me earn it." The intensity in his gaze made her breath catch. "Give me time. Give me a chance. I promise you won't regret it." "Okay," she whispered. He laid out rules with precision. She was to stay on estate grounds unless accompanied by security. Report anything unusual. Wear the panic button he'd had designed, a delicate bracelet that looked like jewelry. "This seems excessive," she said. "It's necessary. My enemies are creative, ruthless, and I'm a weakness?" His eyes darkened. "You're quickly becoming one, yes." The admission hung heavy. Before she could process it, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his expression hardened. "I need to handle this. The stylist will be here at 2. He started to leave, then paused. "Alana, you look beautiful in the sunlight. I wanted you to know that." The stylist arrived with enough evening gowns to stock a boutique. The gown they selected was midnight blue silk that skimmed her curves without being provocative. Elegant, sophisticated. At 7, Alana descended the main staircase. Niccolo waited at the bottom in a tuxedo. When he saw her, he went perfectly still. "Cristo," he breathed, "you're stunning. The dress is beautiful because you're wearing it." He held out his hand, not a command, an invitation. She took it. His fingers closed around hers, and something electric passed between them. The Metropolitan Museum was transformed. Candlelight, string quartets, New York's wealthiest circulating with champagne. Alana stood in the Temple of Dendur as Niccolo's companion, and every eye tracked her movement. "Ignore them," Niccolo murmured, his hand at the small of her back. "They're jackals. Let them stare." He introduced her to senators, tech moguls, old money families. Each time, "Alana Brooks, my estate manager and companion for the evening." No one believed the fiction, but no one dared question it. She was deep in conversation with a museum curator when she felt Niccolo tense. His hand pressed slightly. A warning. "Excuse us," he said smoothly, guiding her away. "What's wrong?" "Beaumont is here." There, across the room. Beaumont Fitzgerald, looking diminished. When his eyes met hers, they slid away immediately. Beaumont approached a group of powerful-looking men in the corner, all watching Niccolo with calculation. "Who are they?" Alana asked. "Competition, rivals, men who'd like to see me fall. They're wondering if you're a weakness they can exploit." "Am I?" "Absolutely. Which is why you'll never be alone, never unprotected, never vulnerable." One of the men approached. Tall, silver-haired, expensively dressed. "Niccolo, so good to see you. And who is this lovely creature?" "None of your concern, Richard." Niccolo's voice dropped several degrees. "Walk away. I'm simply being friendly. You're being intrusive. There's a difference. This is your only warning." Richard's smile turned sharp. "So protective. She must be very special. Nothing you won't learn if you don't leave. Now." The tension stretched tight. Around them, conversations quieted. Richard finally backed down, but his eyes promised retribution. "We should leave," Niccolo said quietly. "Because of him? Because I'm about to do something very violent if he looks at you again, and that would ruin your dress." The drive home was silent. Niccolo stared out the window, radiating controlled fury. Back at the estate, he walked her to her door. Stopped. Turned. "I'm sorry, you shouldn't have been subjected to that. You protected me, again. Always." The word was a vow. His hand came up to cup her cheek. His thumb traced featherlight across her skin. "You shouldn't have to," he said quietly. "You deserve better than this world. Maybe. But this world has you in it." The words escaped before she could stop them. His eyes widened, something vulnerable flashing across his face. "Don't," he said softly. "Don't give me hope, Alana. I'm not a good man. What if I don't want what I deserve? What if I want—" He kissed her, gentle, reverent, like she was something precious he was afraid to break. His lips moved over hers with controlled passion, her hands fisted in his tuxedo jacket, pulling him closer. The kiss deepened. Heat, want, desperation. When he pulled back, they were both breathing hard. "That was—" she started. "A mistake," he finished, though his hand still cradled her face. "You work for me. You're under my protection." "I shouldn't—" "But you did. Because I'm weak where you're concerned." He stepped back. "Go inside, Alana. Before I do something we'll both regret." She wanted to argue. Instead, she went inside. But she pressed her fingers to her lips, still tasting him. Tomorrow they'd talk. Tomorrow everything would be clearer. She had no idea how wrong she was. Alana woke to her phone buzzing insistently. A text from an unknown number. "He's coming for you. Get Micah. Safe room. Now." NF. Her heart stopped. She bolted from bed, ran to Micah's room. He was sleeping peacefully, clutching his stuffed elephant. "Baby, wake up. We need to go." "Mama?" His sleepy voice broke her heart. Footsteps pounded in the hallway. The door burst open. Niccolo stood there in tactical gear, looking every inch the dangerous man he was. "Safe room now." He lifted Micah into his arms and led them through the house to a hidden panel in his study. Steel-reinforced walls, supplies, communications equipment. Sophia was already there with essential stuff. She took Micah from Niccolo's arms, wrapping him in a blanket. "Where are you going?" Alana demanded. "To end this." Niccolo cupped her face. Richard made his move. Thought he could take what's mine. He was wrong. "Don't go, please. I have to. To keep you safe. To keep him safe." He kissed her forehead. "I'll come back. I promise." Then he was gone. Hours crawled by. Micah fell asleep on Alana's lap. Sounds of battle filtered through even the thick walls. Gunfire, shouts, explosions. Then finally silence. The panel opened. Niccolo stood there, covered in soot and blood. Some his, most not. His face was hard, lethal. But when his eyes landed on Alana and Micah, he softened. "You're safe," he said hoarsely. Alana carefully extracted herself and threw her arms around him. "You scared me," she whispered fiercely. "I scared myself." His arms came around her, tight, desperate. They got closer than they should have, but they didn't reach us. This time, he pulled back. "We need to relocate. Italy. I have a compound in Tuscany. We'll be safe there." "For how long?" "Until this war is over, until I've eliminated every threat. However long it takes." 2 days later, they were on a private plane to Italy. The Tuscany compound was a converted monastery on a hilltop, surrounded by olive groves, beautiful, peaceful, heavily guarded. Micah loved it immediately. Alana found herself falling in love too, with the landscape, with the slower pace, and with Niccolo. He was different in Italy, still dangerous, but more relaxed. He spent mornings teaching Micah Italian, evenings dining with her on terraces under stars. One night, 3 weeks after their arrival, he found her on a terrace staring at the moon. "Can't sleep?" he asked. "Too much thinking." He settled beside her. "About?" "About how 3 months ago I was cleaning houses and worrying about rent. Now I'm in Italy, living in a monastery, and falling completely in love with a man I shouldn't want but can't help wanting." His breath caught. "Alana, I know what you're going to say, that it's too dangerous, that you're not good for me, that I should want someone safe." She turned to face him. "But I don't want safe, I want you. You don't know what you're asking for. Then show me." He stared at her for a long moment. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Her heart stopped. "This isn't a proposal, not yet, but it's a promise." He opened the box to reveal a ring, antique, beautiful, with a central diamond surrounded by sapphires. "This was my mother's, the only thing I have left of her. and I want you to have it. Niccolo, I can't, you can. He took her hand, slipped the ring on her finger. It's a promise that I'll protect you, that I'll cherish you, that when this war is over and we're truly safe, I'll ask you properly. Tears streamed down her face. I could never regret you. You say that now, but there will be hard days, and on those days, I'll remember this moment. She touched the ring, then his face. I love you, Niccolo Ferretti. Cristo, Alana, I love you too. He pulled her into his lap. I'll make you happy. I swear it. You already have. They kissed under the Tuscan stars, and for the first time in his life, Niccolo allowed himself to believe in happy endings. The war came to a head 2 months later. Intelligence reported that Richard and his allies were planning a final assault. The night before the anticipated attack, Niccolo came to Alana's room. If something happens to me, don't. She pressed her fingers to his lips. Don't say it. I have to. If something happens, Sophia has instructions. She'll make sure you and Micah are safe. I'd want for you. And I'd want for you to live, to raise our son. He stopped, corrected. Your son. Our son, she repeated firmly. Micah calls you Papa now. You're his father in every way that matters. Don't you dare leave us. I'll do everything in my power to come back. Then that's enough. She pulled him down for a fierce kiss. Come back to me. To us. The battle was brutal. Alana watched from the compound's security center as feeds showed the assault, saw him fighting with lethal efficiency, saw him take a bullet to the shoulder. Keep fighting. Her nails dug into her palms until she drew blood, but Niccolo's preparation paid off. By dawn, Richard's organization had been decimated, and Niccolo stood victorious. When he returned, Alana met him at the door, threw herself into his arms. You're hurt. I'm alive. That's what matters. 3 weeks later, he took Alana to a vineyard on the compound's edge. Sunset painted the sky. Micah played nearby with Sophia. I told you this wasn't a proposal, Niccolo said, taking both her hands. I remember. I lied. He smiled, the real smile she'd only seen a few times. Alana Brooks, you've given me everything I never knew I needed. A home, a family, a reason to be better. Will you marry me? Yes. No hesitation, no doubt. Yes, 1,000 times, yes. He kissed her as the sun set, and Micah cheered in the background. 3 years later, Alana stood in the gardens of their Tuscany home, watching Micah, now 8, teach his baby sister the names of flowers in Italian. Sofia Isabella Ferretti was 2 years old. With her mother's eyes and her father's stubborn chin, she toddled after her big brother, chattering in a mix of English and Italian. Niccolo emerged from the house, scooping Sophia into his arms. She squealed with delight. Papa, I learned 5 new flowers. 5? That's incredible. He pressed a kiss to her dark curls, then caught Alana's eyes. The love there was so intense, it still took her breath away. They'd married in a small ceremony at the monastery. She'd worn a simple dress. He'd cried when he saw her. Micah had been the ring bearer. Now, 3 years later, they'd built something impossible. A life, a family. A love that had survived violence and danger and war. Happy? Niccolo asked, pulling her close with his free arm. Deliriously, she answered honestly. Good, because I have a surprise for you. Another one? I found a position for you at the Florence Uffizi Gallery. Curator of Renaissance art, if you want it. Her breath caught. Niccolo, that's my dream job. How did you... I have connections. And my wife is brilliant and qualified and deserves to use that art history degree. He smiled. No pressure, but if you want it, it's yours. She threw her arms around him. I love you. So much. And I love you. Both of you. All of you. He looked at his family and felt the ghosts that had haunted him finally rest. My whole world. The dangerous man had found his redemption in love. The invisible woman had found her place in the light, and together they'd built something neither had believed possible. A family, a future, a forever. This story has come to an end. If it touched your heart in some way, leave your like and share it with someone who also enjoys emotional stories. New stories coming soon. Until next time.